I say that Epstein died, and they should take their disappointment and upset out on the authorities that allowed that to happen. And that, as I said, I hope that they have some closure by the judicial process that took place, and I wish them time to heal and to be able to have a productive and good life going forward. And that's what I hope for them.
And this is what she had to say when she was asked, if you win your appeal, do you think you'll be accepted again by the very people who were once your friends?
Well, I can't know what my friends will do or won't do. I mean, my focus won't be on that. I will always turn to what I've now decided that will form the rest of my life, which is helping other people who are or have been incarcerated.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, guys, there is a grief muscle here, but not in the right places. Listen to her words. Go back and listen to her words and look for where the emphasis should be. Most of the emphasis is on, hey, Epstein's dead. I'm not part of that. That's all over with. You should be okay. Epstein died, and they should be upset with the people who allowed him to die, not the process, none of that. And then the whole court thing, all this stuff she says is with internal voice. Remember, I told you about 8.5% of your income. It should be with emotion. If you're feeling any remorse, if you're feeling any sorrow for these people whose lives have been wrecked. Now, maybe she doesn't think they've been wrecked, don't know. But her grief muscle engages this grief muscle, this arch right here, when she addresses time to heal and good life going forward. Wonder why? I don't know. But we saw this grief muscle not associated with the gastric distress one time earlier when she was talking about being attacked by Virginia Giffrey and the photo. So the only two times we see the grief muscle without gastric distress are these two pieces. It's every time she's attacked. There's a new adapter at her throat and even maybe at the suprasternal notch, but also under her clothes adapting. Whatever she's saying there is very hard for her to say. She's trying to get something out. I don't see remorse, but I also realize there's a fine line to walk when you're admitting guilt or expressing sorrow. You got to be careful not to say, I'm sorry it happened because. If you do that, then when you get back, they're going to use it in court. So when she's asked about her friends is when we see the same exact thing that Clinton brought out in her, that gastric distress, that ducking of the chin, and that arch in the forehead. Does this mean that she perceives Clinton and the rest of her friends as having let her down? Or does she perceive that she's not going to be let back in, or that the people that she relies on to get her out of this bind are not there? Likely, when you see two of the same thing, exactly the same thing, something's going on. I'll just leave it at that and say, Scott, what do you got?
All right. This is where we're hearing true vocal fry for the first time. And she's watching her words and she's being very careful here. And after a friend asks her the question or is talking, then we see her, like you were saying, Greg, she's guarding that reaction. She's breathing a little bit more heavily here. And I think she still hasn't come down from that Bill Clinton question. And I think that's why we're seeing all the little things that are firing off from that. I think it's very similar to that. I'll leave it there. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, just a big reaction on what they should do. The head reels back. I think there's a moment of disgust there as well. So really no empathy for the victims in this case. In fact, she does say they should take their disappointment out on the authorities that perhaps allowed the death of her former partner. So it's kind of that blame the government, not me kind of situation. It's all the authorities' fault. It's nothing to do with me. I agree. There's that discomfort in the stomach again, that belch again around helping and other people, this not needing friends now. And now she's going to help people who are wrongly in prison like her. So there's a narrative there. There's a piece of branding going on here that I don't need friends anymore. I'm now a crusader to help the victims of wrongful imprisonment, just like myself. Let's all go and fight the system together. Chase, what do you got on this one?
I agree with you. And the whole time she's talking about becoming this pariah, she's using internal dialogue. Greg, to your point, where there's either just recalling something she's memorized or written or coming up with words on the fly that sound good. That's when we see a lot of that eye movement. There's no emotion when talking about the people or the victims. The one time, which I think is the only time, we see her go into emotional eye movement, which is down and to a person's right, is right at this time she's thinking about her friends at home and how will they respond. And I think this might tell us more about her behavior profile than a lot of other indicators we've seen so far. But in real life, we would need to ask her probably a few more questions to ensure that this is a good hot point for her emotionally. But just with these available resources that we have, this is a big point for her. She gets emotional about how the friends will potentially react to her coming out. And that's all I got.
I say that Epstein died and they should take their disappointment and upset out on the authorities that allowed that to happen. And that, as I said, I hope that they have some closure by the judicial process that took place. And I wish them time to heal and to be able to have a productive and good life going forward. And that's what I hope for them.
And this is what she had to say when she was asked, if you win your appeal, do you think you'll be accepted again by the very people who were once your friends?
Well, I can't know what my friends will do or won't do. I mean, my focus won't be on that. I will always turn to what I've now decided that will form the rest of my life, which is helping other people who are or have been incarcerated.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.